Hi, and welcome back. Today we are touching on a fun little topic, and that is how do you decenter men without hating men? Now, if you know, you know, okay? I get comments on the daily about how women like me hate men and how we're like ruining people's lives, and how could you have a son and think the way you do about men, and good luck ever dating, yada yada. Okay, I get it. People just don't understand what it means to decenter men. Okay, people just naturally assume that means that you hate men. And honestly, when I told old coworkers when I was working in corporate that I was considering using a donor, this is like years ago now, and a couple of them were like, oh wow, like your ex really did you in, like you really just hate men, like damn, or who hurt you and whatever, right? And a lot of us have heard that. It's kind of tired and old and ridiculous, but I can kind of understand where people might be coming from when they have that perception, because they don't get it. I get it, okay? How could I possibly raise a son, love my brother, love any man that comes into my life if I decenter men? First and foremost, decentering men does not mean that we hate them. What it does mean is that we are choosing to value ourselves more. That can be confusing for some. The thing is that men are no longer the center of our realities. We are making ourselves the center of our realities, and that's the way it should be, okay? Each individual on the planet should prioritize themselves, because when you prioritize yourself, you take care of yourself and you love on yourself, you just instinctively are going to be a better, nicer, kinder person. When you're choosing to pour into your own cup, you're therefore going to have a cup that runneth over, okay, which allows you to runneth over onto others in the best way, okay? So when women are taken care of and valuing ourselves, we're no longer willing to accept scraps, because we don't need the scraps. Women are no longer marrying for money, really. I mean, there are some, but it's much less common now. Women are not marrying for stability or for a home or for status necessarily, because we don't need to. We already have talked about how women not too long ago needed to marry. Now that we don't need to anymore, we have all collectively, or most of us have decided that if we are going to get married, or when we do get married, whatever, it's going to be because we value this person for who they are. And unfortunately, a lot of men are not cut out for what most of us are looking for, which is essentially a best friend, which is essentially just someone to share life with. Like, we don't need the provider anymore. We don't need him to take care of us in that way anymore. And unfortunately, most men were raised to be the provider. Like, that's what they offer, right? Much like many women were raised to believe that they should be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, and that's what you offer, and serve your man and all these things, and that makes you a good wife, and make sure that you're keeping him satisfied or he's going to look elsewhere. And we all have heard it, but we're not doing that anymore. And because we're not doing that anymore, and a lot of men, not all, a lot of men have not been raised to level up and meet the modern women where we are at. Like, we just want a healthy, loving partner who is emotionally mature and fun, and doesn't get his ego bruised when I make more than him, and he can still pay for a dinner and not have to split the check because I make more than him, or if we do split a check or something, it doesn't bruise his ego. Like, there's so many things where everyone just needs to evolve. I'm just going to give you a few examples of where some women can center men and maybe even not even realize that they're doing it. I did it for my whole life. Honestly, up until like my 30s, I didn't even realize that I was doing it. But the way that I would dress, the way that I would act, the way I would let a guy not put in the effort when pursuing me. It's like, well, I like him too, so like I like you too, and not make him do the work, but he didn't have to do any of the work. There was no pursuing at all. And the man would be the focus of my life. Like, what is our life going to be like together? How does he fit into my story, my day to day? And would he be a good dad? And all the things, instead of being like, okay, what value does this man bring to my life? Like, do I need this man sitting at my table? Okay. The whole, like, what do you bring to the table thing? And I saw this post that was amazing. And she was like, honey, I am the table. Like, I'm doing all the things. Like, you should be so lucky to be able to have a seat at my table. Like, just, you should know this. Okay. But it's the reality, again, of the modern woman. We are the ones building the tables. We are the ones paying for them, making them, putting the food on them, putting the roof over them, keeping the lights on in them or over them, the list goes on. So in a lot of ways, I didn't look at life that way because I was taught not to look at life that way. Like, do I need this relationship? Or do I feel like I do because that's what we were taught? Like, I'm so sad if I'm alone. Like, I'm not whole if my kids don't have a dad or whatever. If he gets a career move or he gets a raise or he gets a bigger position somewhere else and we have to move. Like, what does that mean for me? Like, oh, I'll just drop it and leave. And it's because we've been taught to believe that that's what we have to do. A lot of times we will delay having children because he doesn't like that timeline. Or right now he's focusing on his career, where the woman is like, hey, I'm like 39. I need like a 3-year plan, like tops, sir. And he doesn't care because right now he's doing like his fantasy football team and it's not the time to have this conversation, and your wheels are turning and he's just not on the same page. So then we wait, and then there's so much regret after because we're making the focal point the man and his needs because we're taught that we need the man to be able to be whole. Another one is, measuring our desirability or our worth based on a man's opinion. The thing that I realized too is, in a lot of ways, decentering men and the whole movement of it kind of liberates men in a way too, because there's less pressure. And I know a lot of women feel like, okay, I got to give him the ultimatum. Like, listen, this is I got 3 years. If you don't put a ring on it, like, I'm done. And again, when more women are realizing like, hey, I'm going to be with this person because I want to, not because there's pressures, and we want to be together. You want somebody who wants to be with you just as much as you want to be with them, and you guys want to work together, and you guys just fit together really beautifully. And without the time crunch that comes with solo motherhood, because we have our own timeline and we're the ones ultimately making all the decisions ourselves, it takes off all of the pressure when it comes to dating, when it comes to seeing somebody, when it comes to having a conversation about potentially, dating somebody. It's so different because they also know where you stand. Like, I don't necessarily want to get married. I don't want to have a lot of the traditional things. Like, I want to have my own space, probably forever. And I would expect this person to most likely have their own space too, and we can come together when we want, how often that is. But I love my sovereignty. I love my me time. I love my space. And I believe that the right person will love and appreciate that. And I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, because, you're not going to be nagging him and yada, yada, yada. But I don't need to nag him. I don't want to nag him. Like, if I need to be your mom, I'm not interested. We're grown. I am grown. And if you're not grown and I need to tell you how to pick up your shoes, you're not it. I'm not it. Together, we are not it, But yes, I feel like in a lot of ways, it liberates both parties because there's no huge expectation other than respect and love and kindness and shared memories and shared growth and learning from one another and experiencing things together. And I think that is ultimately what most people want. When you really peel back the layers, that's the core of what most people want in a marriage or a partnership. So without all the pressure, it's so much better for everybody, I feel. No? Tell me if I'm wrong. You can tell me in the comments, we can talk about it. But yes, ultimately, at the end of the day, we can love men, we can celebrate men, we can desire men, we can partner with them, okay? Have lives with them, but from a place of overflow and from choice, as opposed to need. Now, when it comes to Leo, my son, listen, this one trips people up, but he's not the man of the house. Pause for effect. He is not the man of the house. He is my son. He is the little boy of the house. I am the head of the house, okay? And my job for him is to nurture him and raise him and care for him. And the way that I am doing that is without toxic masculinity. Like, we cry, we are emotional, we all wear nail polish, me, Riley, and Leo, okay? Nail polish, sometimes I'll do makeup, he'll do makeup with me, we do skincare sometimes. I mean, he's still small, so I try to avoid makeup and stuff on their faces because they have such beautiful skin, and I'm like, savor that while you can, honey. And he's also not having some kind of pressure where he needs to be a provider. There's no conversations like that at all in this house. Everybody contributes in the sense that, everyone has to pick up stuff. If, we do a grocery run, you're both helping me put things away. We're all, taking inventory of what we need for the grocery store, if we're doing a grocery order, helping with laundry, organizing their stuff, buying new things for their rooms or whatever. It's all up to them. And if he is feeling big emotions, we talk about it, put a name to those things. There's no shame in crying. There's no shame in any of those things. We're all human in this house. There's no girl jobs, boy jobs. There's no girl responsibilities and boy responsibilities. I know a lot of us grew up where it's the girls do the girly cleaning, cooking, organizing, and the guys do the cutting of the grass and the manly stuff, the car stuff, bruh. And it's why can't girls fix cars? Why can't the boys cook dinner? Because I want both of my children to be self-sufficient and self-reliant as adults. I don't want incompetent adults that I raise. I want them to be able to take care of themselves. And if they do ultimately have families, whatever that looks like, I want them to not just what they bring to the table financially or whatever, but just that they make a house a home that doesn't come with gender roles or anything like that. They both need to know how to do all of the things. But yeah, I mean, ultimately he's seeing a woman leading a family. There's no man, he's never known a man to be leading the family. So either of them really. So they both kind of see a matriarchal way of life, which I'm not mad about, and I believe that everyone should be living that. We'll talk about that another time. From home anyways, of course there's outside influence, and we have to try to talk about it and try to screen it out as much as possible. And the biggest way I can do that is by leading by example, because I say it all the time that you can talk and talk and talk, but unless you practice what you preach, your kids don't really give a fluff. Living the life that I do, I am showing my kids what it's like to be a sovereign, independent, really happy woman entirely on my own. And I love that for them because they get to have that as an example. So yeah, at the end of the day, my son being raised in this household gets to be the kind of guy that respects and loves powerful, independent women. Instead of judging them and trying to tear them down, he could actually see women like me, women like his sister when she's older, women out in public, women if he's dating, women of his friend group, and coworkers, whatever, and say, hey, look at her, that's lovely, instead of trying to tear her down. And he can celebrate women. I can decenter men and still love and value men and my son and every man that comes into my life that is a part of my family, whatever it is, and respect the good ones and encourage all women always, and even the men, okay, to hold their buddies accountable and stop centering men in our lives. I do believe that that's how great things will continue to evolve and happen for women everywhere. We need to focus on ourselves and lift each other up and be a good sister, friend, girlfriend to one another, and continue to teach our sons that it's okay to be a nice boy. It's okay to be a nice kid. It's okay to be loving. And I think that's what they all need to know. It's okay to be loved, and it's okay to be loving, and show all sides of you, all the creative sides of you, the fun sides of you, the silly sides of you, the quote unquote feminine sides of you, and just be who you are. Because I think if all men were raised that way, we'd be living in an entirely different world. I want to quickly remind you that my SMBC Conception Formula program is available now. You can jump in. If you're considering becoming a single mom by choice and you're overwhelmed, you're in the Google spiral, you don't have anyone to talk to that really gets what you're going through, jump in there. It's literally a step-by-step roadmap to guide you from where you are today, kind of thinking about it or whatever, and to carrying your baby in your belly, okay? Listening to a heartbeat, the whole nine, okay? It takes you from A to Z, girl, okay? You can check it out, links below. We can also schedule a one-on-one if you prefer more one-on-one guidance. I'm here to do that for you. And with that, I wish you nothing but a beautiful week. I will see you next week.